Success transcends cities. As one of the world's most respected business leaders, I know what it takes. Join me now as I sit down with fellow leaders and we share our insights into how you can be successful. My name is Jeffrey Hayzlett, and this is All Business.
Hey, I want to talk to you about business today. We all know business has evolved to represent more than just profits. It's also about increasing the impact our businesses can have on our teams, our communities, and society in general. And we know we believe that at the C-Suite Network with all the gives that we give to each other every day. And of course, leading with values with our Hero Club. Well, my guest today is the co-founder and CEO of Bombas. And it's a $170 million direct-to-consumer sock seller. Now, it was founded on the philosophy of donating to those in need, which is awesome. David Heath is a serial entrepreneur who has founded 3 companies with 1 successful exit and has invested and consulted on several startups from concepts through launch and continued growth. Hey, welcome, David. It's good to have you here on All Business with Jeffrey Hayzlett, and of course, part of our digital discussions right here on C-Suite. So, David, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
You know, David, I usually start, with yes, yes, yes. I like yes, but you've used the word no. I read an article that your key to early success was saying no. What or who did you say no to?
Yeah. So, I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I give to entrepreneurs and one that was given to me and one that we still to this day, execute on, which is this idea of focus. We've built a small correction in your intro. We've built a $250 million, direct-to-consumer business.
There you go, brother. you got. Hey, listen, you got to count those. That's how we keep score. You got to count those. That's how we keep it.
Exactly. And still 98% of our business today is in socks, and 98% of our business is direct to consumer through our website. And here we are 7 years later, $250 million of revenue. And so much, I think, of that success is that we focused on one category in one channel of distribution. And over the years, when we started to see some early success, we were internally tempted with launching new products faster, or launching into new stores quicker, or trying to take our products international because someone from the UK emailed us and said, "Oh, I love your product, you should sell it over here," right? And so I talked to so many entrepreneurs over the years, and people who are really early on in their business, maybe a few $100,000 in sales, you're saying, "Oh my God, Target called me," or "I've got an opportunity to be on, QVC," or, "A distributor in China called me," it's like, and I'm like, whoa, like slow down. Like you still have so much opportunity to do the thing that you're good at, or that you can remain focused on right in front of you. So those were a bunch of things that we've kind of said no to over the years, and I think we're direct contributors to our success today.
Yeah, I like that focus, and that is a big thing. I call it the squirrel syndrome, whereas entrepreneurs, squirrel, we're running around because we see someone successful with something, or we get something, and rather it's just sell one pair of socks, just sell one thing. Then add a zero to it, then add another zero, and let's keep it very simple. This is what we do and how we do it. Yep. How did you get started? What's your origin story?
Yeah, so it may come as a surprise, but I didn't grow up dreaming of building a sock empire.
Get out! Seriously? You didn't wake up, put on a pair of socks, and go, "Holy crap!
This would be good here." Yeah. No, so I think my journey, is similar to a lot of entrepreneurs. I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to run my own company. I was lucky that my dad, I had my dad as a great example of somebody who, quit working at a service station, took $3,000 of his own money, started, a business in the basement of our house, and built it into a multi-million-dollar business over 35 years, and was able to afford me many of the luxuries that he never had. And so I think I was so inspired by that from a really early age, I was, that kid in the neighborhood who was, cleaning gutters, selling lemonade, washing cars, walking dogs, whatever I could do to hustle to get a buck. And so I went to school for entrepreneurship at Babson. And when I came out, I had my eyes open, ears to the ground, and I started to develop this muscle that I think is really important for any entrepreneur to develop, which is, to walk around the world, and anytime you experience either frustration or something that just doesn't quite make sense to you, that you say, like, is there a way that I can solve this, right? Is there a way I can fix this using business? And, for the 8 years that I was out of college, I kind of did that. And I think I wrote 45 business plans. I'd launched, 2 companies, none to the success that I've experienced with Bombas, but, everything was kind of a stepping stone in my journey. And, I think it's like meeting your spouse, right? They always say you're going to meet them in the least likely, place, or when you least expect it. I was scrolling Facebook one day while I was at work, and I came across this post on my feed that said, socks are the most requested clothing item at homeless shelters. And I remember sitting there and thinking, I didn't know that. And that's pretty sad that there's an item of clothing. I would have thought it was coats or jeans or sneakers or something.
Shoes. Yeah.
Or shoes.
Yeah.
And, here's an item of clothing that I've never spent more than a few seconds a day thinking about. And it's now perceived as a luxury item for over 600,000 people living right here in the US. And I just couldn't shake it. And so this was early 2011, and this is kind of a stars align moment. Tom's Shoes and Blake Makowski, with the pioneering of the one for one movement, was in their 5th year of business, I think doing a few $100 million in revenue, growing quite rapidly, and really, pioneered this movement that, Warby Parker followed, and a bunch of other people, that are no longer around. And I was like, maybe this is a way to solve this sock problem, right? Is donate a pair for every pair that we sell. And admittedly didn't think that, this was going to be my legacy. So, but, I think like any interesting idea, I took that thread and I pulled on it, and I started to, look at the marketplace and see where the opportunity was. And here we are 7.5 years later. We've donated over 50 million pairs of socks. And we continue to have impact and continue to grow.
Is it hard giving them away? Meaning
not
finding
at all.
people? Yeah, see, that's the issue, isn't it?
All.
Right?
Yeah, we have 3,500 giving partners that we have direct relationships with throughout the entire country, represented in all 50 states. And we were supposed to do it last year, but obviously got derailed due to COVID. We are going to work with, either UPenn or Harvard to run our own independent study of finding out exactly how many homeless shelters there are in the United States, and what is the demand by category. Because we're no longer producing socks, we're producing underwear, which underwear is the second most requested clothing item in homeless shelters. T-shirts is the third, but we don't really have a sense of by what volume, right? Is 50 million, 100 million, 500 million? We want something there where we can start to measure our impact and say, okay, we're delivering 50% or 10% or 100%. We want to know where we stand in that paradigm, so that we can then start to, as we grow our business, figure out what's the 4th most, 5th most, 7th most, 12th most, and start to build out a strategy around our giving.
Which makes a lot of sense in terms of instead of having a food bank, you've got a sock bank. Is that? I mean,
we've got a clothing bank. I mean, now, we're really focused on delivering the top 3 most requested clothing items. And what's interesting, is funny how strategy works out, because we had thought, okay, Bombas, when we talk to our customers, we're really known for comfort, so that gives us liberty to do things like sweatpants and sweatshirts and comfy footwear or blankets or towel. We could go in so many different directions.
A lot of brand extensions for you in terms of the product.
Yeah. But when we go back to that initial statement around focus, right? What are we going to do today? And we said, okay, there are many multi-billion-dollar companies like Hanes and Fruit of the Loom and Jockey, that just focus on innerwear and basics like socks, tees, and underwear. And admittedly, I feel like those brands are no longer as relevant as they used to be. And so we see ourselves as kind of being the Starbucks of the basics innerwear, category. So Starbucks is to Maxwell House, we are to, Hanes. Yes, it costs 2 to 3 times more per product, but the product and experience are are so much better than what you would experience with one of those other brands. And so it's interesting how that our core strategy internally around our focus as to what we were going to deliver to the customer aligned perfectly with the items that are in most need at homeless shelters. And so, these are the 3 items that we all wear closest to our body every single day. They're the 3 items that the homeless community wear closest to their body every single day. And so that's going to be our focus for the next few years.
So a lot of people, David, when they get to be an entrepreneur, they're looking for that inroad, the exit, something that they're going to be able to say and point to and say, that's what we're striving to. I can imagine with 250 million in sales, you got a lot of people probably picking up the phone and calling you. All right, that's one. And I sit here and recently had the CEO of Ben and Jerry's on. Now, here was somebody that, a very big company striving for good, kind of Vermontish, very quickish, I won't say totally. You're the same.
We love them. No, we love Ben and Jerry's. We talk about them a lot internally.
And yet they sold to Unilever.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest companies in the world, and they're a division of Unilever. Yet they've been able to keep their independence. Do you ever think about what's going to happen to you? Where are you going to go with that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm the CEO of the company, so it's what I spend a lot of my time thinking on about these days.
Well, but at the same time, you got this mission, and it's hard to separate yourself from that mission of
we would never separate ourselves from that mission. I mean, that it is so core to our DNA and what we do that and I think, look, people that we've talked to, whether it's people in the capital markets, whether it's potential acquirers, they get it, right? Like no one's looking to like, oh wait, I can take 10% of the margin back by not donating product. Like the whole business falls apart at that point, right?
Yeah.
Our customers are so incredibly loyal to us, and I think we've been able to cut through the noise in this space because of our mission. It's such a differentiator, and nobody else does it. And in a weird way, Tom's over the years has kind of faltered a little bit, and they declared bankruptcy, and so and Warby had moved away from. They still do it, but they've kind of focused on being a fashion technology play, and so it's really left us to be the torchbearers of kind of the big, profitable, growing, give back business model. And so we're exploring a lot of options, whether that's going public, whether it's getting acquired, but I think everything that we do. We're a B Corp as well, right? So like in our bylaws, we are
there. It's a part of your DNA.
It's so ingrained in what we do. There's no way you could ever rip it out.
I mean, it's amazing that I get the sense of this, and which is interesting that this is really where you began. Like, because a lot of people would have started with this as a kind of a marketing ploy as opposed to a real belief in it. And you've been able to mesh the both of them, which I think is good, but it's core to who you are. I'm going to ask you to tell me the story about the greatest sock ever sold, and what the purpose. To me, that to me is audacity of just saying it and then going for it and walking with some swagger. And then now you got to, you're out there. So tell me about what was the purpose behind that?
Well, so the campaign was actually the greatest sock never sold.
Never sold. It does say never. I'm sorry. I have verbal dyslexia. So
it's also the nuance, right? Because why would you go out with a marketing campaign and spend money talking about a sock that you don't sell, right? And so we had this idea internally, every time we hit a new milestone. So originally we said, okay, and I somewhat regret this decision, but here I am 7 years later. But before we'd even launched the company, I remember sitting across the table from Randy, who was one of my co-founders, and I said, as entrepreneurs, we put big, hairy, audacious goals out there, right? And I said, you know what? If we ever donate 1 million pairs of socks, I will tattoo the Bombas logo on me as a way to celebrate. And at that
Where's it tattooed? Where's it tattooed? I want to know. Right there. Oh, come on. I would have. That's cool.
I didn't have any tattoos, and here I am 7 years later. I got the bug, and I've got 10 or 11 or something like that. It is a slippery slope once you get one. But so I had none, and so that was like a big deal. And I kind of like said it as a lark, not thinking a million pairs. We hadn't even sold one. So like, I thought this was going to be, people would forget about it. We did it in 2 years. We donated our millionth pair of socks in 2 years, and then we're like, okay, well, let's focus on 5 million. And so, when we did 1 million, we put out this video campaign celebrating our millionth pair, and we videotaped me getting the tattoo, and it became this viral video, which I think has over 150 million views collectively online, and was a big turning point as a campaign for us. So then we did 5 million pairs, and then for 10 million, we're like, okay, we can't keep telling the same story of 1 million, 5 million. So for 10 million, we were like, okay, what if we talk about our donation sock, right? And our donation sock is a product that we specifically designed for the homeless community. At first, we were just donating the same socks we were selling. Same exact sock we would sell to the customer, we would donate to the homeless community, because my belief in kind of staying close to my values early on was, I want the homeless community to experience the same joy and comfort and quality that my customers are experiencing. And what was interesting, about 6 months into the business, we started getting feedback from our giving partners that said, hey, we really like the colors, but do you have just black socks? And, that got me thinking. I was like, okay, maybe the sock that we're producing for our customer is not addressing the same needs of somebody who's living on the streets. And so we kind of re-engineered our donation sock. We took the same product that we were selling, and we added an antimicrobial treatment to prevent the growth of fungus. That would make sense. Reinforced seams for greater durability, and darker colors to minimize visible wear. And so we've been donating the sock for years. And so we had this idea internally to say, what if we did our 10 million pair video campaign around our donation sock, right? And call it the greatest sock that was never sold. And, the whole video, is, you can find it online, is set up as like, this is a sock that we've, made 10 million of, and yet we've never sold it. And it was all this concept around highlighting a product that you can't even buy. But it was like, it got such great response because it's interesting, and it kind of cut through the noise.
As you talk about the sock and you talk about microbial and all the things, I harken back to the old days of Vietnam War, and my dad talking about the war and being, over there. And he used to always say, his son, don't ever forget, the weirdest thing he said was my socks. He said, I took care of my feet. He said, the war is won through your feet. And I just think back when I see, and by the way, when I see homeless people, I always think about, I got to go get the guy some shoes. I got to get him some socks. I got to get him something. And I do that a lot in New York. Not so much in South Dakota, because we just don't have that issue here in South Dakota. We've been practicing social distancing since 1889. So we just don't have that. Yeah. So I mentioned earlier that you are, a serial entrepreneur. What is it that you like about being an entrepreneur? What fuels you, man? Besides the good that you're doing, like I go to bed every night hoping I'll hurry up and sleep so I can get going the next day. Yeah. And I got the sense that you're like that as well. What fuels you that way?
I mean, it's the premise of creating something that just didn't exist before, and getting validation from the marketplace that thing that you randomly had an idea for, wherever that idea came from, is something that other people in the world relate to, right? And so I find it as a way to kind of create connection with a number of people that I've never met before, and validating this kind of instinct or intuition that I have around a problem or whatever. I think that's what's exciting, right? It's the idea of like starting with this kernel of an idea, building upon it, putting it out into the world, and then going, I don't know, do people care about this? And then like when they do, you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, and then you get to build, a tribe around you, and customers and supporters and employees and people who show up to now, who are now a part of the same thing that like you thought of scrolling through Facebook one day. That's, I think, like what I find so awesome about entrepreneurship. Is just like, it's this unlimited ability to create, right? Yeah. And know, outside of bound by the laws of physics, and even in some cases, right? You look at Elon Musk putting rockets into the, into the universe. It's that just idea that you can like create something that has never been created before. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah. So, you know, during the pandemic, you guys grew by, I think, about 50%, and a lot of other businesses were down. We hate to see that, but a lot of businesses were up. Ours was up over last year without question. What do you think is what's the number one marketing thing that's working for you?
I mean, I think it's helpful. I mean, it was certainly helpful for us, you know, when all the stores were closed. I mean, you know, everything moved online. You know, we had customers that had never shopped online ever before, and all of a sudden they need socks. They type into Google socks, they see our name. Go, oh yeah, I saw them on TV, or saw that Facebook ad, or I heard that podcast or whatever. And now they're becoming a customer of ours. Also, you know, with everybody stuck at home, people were investing in comfort, right? And that's so core to what we do. But I also think, you know, going back to our mission, there was a very distinct moment I remember when, and I really owe a lot of credit to my co-founder Randy, who really identified this. You know, it was like the second week of March, right? And everybody's like running around being like, what the F is going on? I don't know, you know, and I don't know where I'm going to get toilet paper. I don't know where you know, is it safe to buy groceries, right? And yet we were all getting emails from brands being like, here's our new spring style, or check out the new colors. And you're like, what? Like, it sounded oblivious. So tone deaf, but they're like, I don't know, what do we do? Like, just send out the email that we already had scheduled, right? Like, you know, so I think what was awesome for us is because we have this kind of tool in our tool chest. You know, Randy was like, we're not sending out any emails about buying spring socks. Like, who the hell is caring about socks right now? And so what we said is like, oh, we're not going to do any sales or promotional emails. We're just going to focus on our mission, right? And because we had built up this network of 3,500 giving partners, and we have a dedicated 5-person team internally at the organization that manages those relationships, we were getting a number of amazing companies like Brooklinen, who said, hey, you know, we've got you know, bed linens, you know, do you have any partners that are in need of new bed linens? Because obviously for sanitary reasons. We had a cleaning company called Clean Cult, who, you know, said, hey, we obviously have soap, you know, how can we help? And so we leveraged our partner relationships and our distribution network that we had created with our giving partners to get needed items out to the homeless shelters, while everybody else was kind of like, what do we do? And we talked to our customers about that. We said, instead of sending them a sales email, let's send them an email about the impact we're having in our community, and how our corporate giving team is contacting hospitals to not sell socks to them, which they used to be a big customer, but give socks to them, because we knew that the frontline medical workers were on their feet 18 to 36 hours, at a time, and didn't have time to go home and change. And so it's this pivotal, we just pivoted, right? And said, let's just focus on how we can help, right?
And be human.
We were one of the lucky businesses that was doing well. So it was our duty to give back. I think whenever anybody experiences great fortune, it becomes, their duty and their right to share that good fortune back.
As a great quote says, when you get to the very top, don't forget to send the elevator back down for everybody else.
Yeah,
I think that's a good thing. Hey, we're running out of time, and I wish I could spend more time, but I have one last question. All right, you got a tattoo. Did Randy have to get one?
No, nobody else in the organization has signed up for that bet.
You got to make that happen. I want to see you deliver that. They've got to get some tattoo. I can tell you where they need to put it. And for my team that's listening right now, I've told you that if you hit a certain sales number, we've negotiated that I'm buying a bison buffalo, mount for the office, because that's what they said they wanted. So that's what we're going to get. Tattoos are not in my future. I can tell you that right now. All right, David, what a pleasure. Good to have you here on our digital discussion on C-Suite Network, and of course, being a part of All Business with Jeffrey Hayzlett. Hey, what a great brand with a great mission. Success is much more than just dollar signs. It's about impact, and I admire how Bombas focuses on how they can help. A couple of key takeaways I learned from my conversation with David is how his passion for entrepreneurship comes through and the drive he has to create something that has never been created before, and it really resonated with me. Sometimes it really does pay off to focus on just one thing, and their courage of conviction to market around the greatest sock never sold. By building their community of loyal fans, they are able to give back to another community that truly benefits. Makes a brand stand out from the rest of the crowd, doesn't it? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on All Business with Jeffrey Hayzlett right here on C-Suite TV.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bestseller TV. I'm Taryn Winter-Brill. We're here with Mike Skripnik. He is the author of Entrepreneur Secrets to a Grow, Get, Give Life. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks, Taryn. Really looking forward to this conversation.
Me too. Well, first off, I love titles with alliteration, the GGG. Was it hard to pick?
The origins of this were dynamic.
I
right?
bet.
Dine and Mick. That was the name.
Oh, really?
And I worked with a coach, and he looked at me and went, "What are you thinking? That is not a good name." And it just kind of over time evolved, and then someone grabbed on to Grow, Get, Give.
Yeah.
And it meant a lot more than it started as. So
Yeah.
it's just the coolest thing.
I like it. It grabs you.
Yeah.
And there's another G.
It's a lifestyle.
There you go. You mentioned coaches, which we'll get to in a moment, but I did want to mention this is your 5th book.
It is.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty incredible. So how do you decide what to write about, and do they all continue? Is it a continuous series?
After number 1, I said never again. So the fact that I'm writing 5, and really my wife is responsible for that because she kind of just says, you should probably write something more about that. This one ended up being a kind of a byproduct of a lifetime of experience.
Okay.
And I just felt I had to get it out there, get it into the public domain, and explain to people that what I accomplished in a period of time can be done by anyone if they just wanted to pursue it.
So tell us about the book. What are you trying to put forth in your lifetime of experience?
It's an important message. Grow, get, give might mean a lot of things to all the people I coach and train over time, but it means to me is growing your business and wealth, your personal wealth as well, getting more freedom that all entrepreneurs seek, and that's why they start the thing in the first place, and giving back as a part of it. And when I was, a dozen years ago, I was restarting a business after the financial crisis. I was in the financial services industry, maybe a reformed, retired financial service person now, and I needed something different. I was, Wall Street during the day, family and volunteer guy on the weekends, and I just thought the 7 days a week is how I want to live my passion, not on the periphery.
Okay.
And I began a whole journey of what ended up being in this book is all the tips, tricks, secrets I learned from entrepreneurs, coaches, books I've read, and then implemented. And the beauty is I started with one goal, and the goal was, how do I give $1 million to charity every year?
Really?
I didn't have it.
Okay.
We're talking at the bottom of the financial crisis.
Yeah.
And I said, I need something big and meaningful in order to get my life going. And $1 million to charity every year seemed like a pretty lofty aspiration.
Sure. And have you accomplished that?
Oh, we actually crushed it. In just a few short years, we reached $12.5 million of giving back to charity. So it was beyond anything I ever thought possible, and I'm totally grateful for it. It's one of the most big things I've ever done in my life. Biggest things.
It's hard to top.
Hard to top. Well, I'm aiming to do it by 10 times in the next decade.
Yeah,
so
sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
So obviously charity is a big part of your business and your life and who you are. Can you just tell us briefly some of your favorite charitable causes?
Yeah, giving back is really crucial, and it's within our family. It's really important too, and we even have our teenage kids involved, and they've been involved for years in the decision making. Our family really focuses our giving around 3 areas with mostly children and families, and that is children's health, children's nutrition and fitness, and the protection of children. So that's for us an extremely important causes.
How do you explain it? I mean, what do you know now that you didn't know then? I mean, if you had to say the one adjustment you made, or, in terms...
I think it's passion.
Okay.
I started with impact. One word, impact.
Okay.
I wanted to make a bigger impact in the world than I was making, and I couldn't understand how to do it, and navigated the path to learn and just sought the expert advice of other people who'd done it before, who knew better, had objective opinions, and used impact as my guide, and every day woke up passionately pursuing it.
Right.
Now you stick out a target like that when you have no clue how to do it.
Yeah.
You get pretty resourceful.
Right. But the byline is, you say this is the essential guide to success for the impact-minded entrepreneur.
Right.
So there's a difference, right? I mean, this is for a specific entrepreneur that wants to give back, that wants to make an impact. How? My
voice gets heard very well by people who are sitting there in the audience wondering, is this all there is? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm mid-career, I'm an entrepreneur, a business owner, and I really, really, really would rather give back a lot more somehow. My impact is bigger than what I can realize. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right? And they're just sitting there. Yeah, a lot of people do that. They go, yeah, I could do that. I could really get behind that, and they never do. Right? So that person in that audience who's thinking those things, mm-hmm. This is the guidebook for them because it incorporates business. It brings giving and business into one. You can have a life that is meaningful and impactful from a giving perspective and is actually financially really good for you. And then you can take the time off, get the freedom you want to do the things you love and hang with your family and whatever it is that makes you mm-hmm. happy every day.
But it's important to point out that this is for people who also do want to grow their business, right? This isn't just about once you've succeeded and giving back, it's you also are giving them some tools and techniques to grow.
Oh yeah, we didn't just crush a $1 million a year goal.
Right.
My business grew 10 times bigger in a very short period of time. So without a doubt, and it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for using some of the ideas about something I call a mountain of credibility, which mm-hmm. is building a mountain of credibility so you're accepted as the authority and expert in a space and people look to you for your advice, right? And book writing is very much a part of that.
Yeah.
You know, 5 books, something was right about it.
Your other books, they deal with philanthropy?
Yeah, so I wanted to give $1 million back to charity. I started trying to understand how I could teach the board members of a charity, mm-hmm. About charity, how to like CEOs for Dummies or charitable giving for dummies. And I started this journey book that ended up being about the journey. I looked at Oprah and I looked at Richard Branson and Bob Geldof and Bill Gates, and I found that they had a journey. And then I started, getting the opportunities, and business started growing and speaking and working with charities and their donors. And suddenly people were coming up to me going, is that in the book? What you just taught us, is it in the book? And I went, no. And my wife goes, that's a hint.
Bingo.
Right? There's a hint. Write the next book. So the next book was Big Impact Giving. And that's a process on how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how does the average person sitting in the room make it part of their life? How can they turn a $1,000 gift into a $100,000 gift?
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, there's tools and techniques.
So we started with philanthropy.
Okay.
And then it kind of evolved to my passion, which is entrepreneurs, working with business owners, people who can really make change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was looking at people who were transitioning their wealth as a financial advisor, working with baby boomers, and they had made their money and they were just wanting to protect it, give it to their kids, and give it to charity. And I thought, well, what about the people who are really making it, who really could use that knowledge? 20 years ago, those baby boomers said to me, if only I knew what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there's another hint. Right. I'll go teach what I've learned from these people to the 20-year-old youngers, or 20-year younger group, right?
Gotcha, yeah.
And now the entrepreneur gets this wisdom that was learned from the baby boomer group who had already done it.
Yeah.
And they get this enthusiasm of a person who knows business inside and out. I mean, I spent 20 years in the financial service industry to kind of get businesses.
Do you miss it?
No.
I don't. I had a feeling you were going to say that.
I wake up every day knowing that my words, my training, and my book can help others realize a bigger impact. Right?
And what do you do now exactly? Everything you're saying, just
coaching,
live coaching?
Coaching, training, speaking. Mm-hmm. So either in front of an audience, small groups, or one-on-one, we work with owners in mid-career.
Mid-career.
So, startup people hoping that it all works out, bootstrapping, aren't my clients.
Okay.
But people in mid-career who were very much like me a dozen years ago, they went, there's got to be more. I'm successful, but I'm not where I want to be.
And throughout the book, you talk a lot about how hiring coaches was so important to your evolution. Why do you think that was key? for your success?
Oh, there's a couple of reasons. The first is, of course, is I didn't know how to do I wanted to do this, and I had no idea how to do. I was in a hoarding industry,
Yeah.
and I wanted to give money away. So most of my peers said, you're crazy, and that's the no-profit industry.
Right.
So don't get into it. And I thought, well, I got to find some people who actually think there's an opportunity here. And I sought out coaches who could give me that guidance. And then I learned that the smart, successful coaches who knew people who'd done it before could share some extraordinarily valuable things with me. And they collapsed time. Right? I could have spent a dozen years trying to figure it out, and I spent just a few years figuring it out. And coaches were absolutely critical to that. And that's what I give to people now.
Right. Do you tell them what coaches to hire? I mean, you're a coach, so to speak, but are you every kind of coach? I mean, there's very specific coaches. So what's your advice to the person who says, how do I know what coach I need?
A good example would be a celebrity. A celebrity wants to perform, they want to sing, they want to act, they want to learn how to take a fall, whatever it is. They don't go to the singing coach for acting lessons, right? They go to different coaches. So very similar. An athlete goes to a coach for psychological performance, but they also go to a coach for strength training. So I'm not everybody's coach or coach everything. But I do know a lot about a lot of subjects that are really key to growing a business.
So what do you call yourself? What kind of a coach?
I'd say an impact mindset transformational coach, because people, when they have the realization that they can live their passionate desire for impact every day, it changes everything. Because most people just say, well, that's something I'll do when I'm wealthy.
Right.
Like, oh, when I'm successful, I'll give back. I'll volunteer. I'll do more things. I'm busy right now.
Right.
But they don't realize that that's not two different roads. They're not parallel. They actually can be blended very well.
Yeah.
And make what you do meaningful every day. And surprisingly, not really. I mean, I don't think it's surprising, but to a lot of entrepreneurs, they go, I didn't think if I shared my values with my clients or customers that they would actually be attracted to that.
Right.
And so it builds business bonds way deeper,
Yeah.
deeper connections with the people you serve.
Yeah, being a little vulnerable. I like how the book is laid out. It's very user-friendly because there's 3 sections. You know, there's the grow your business part, there's the get more freedom, and the give back. So I like, you know, depending on where you are and what you want to focus on, you know, perhaps it's all 3 or just 1. So like I said, it makes it user-friendly. Curious, when you look back, is there one maybe anecdote or experience that kind of was the turning point for you when you realized, okay, you know, here's the change I want to make, or this is you know, what's going to sort of, you know, turn the corner for me?
Oh my gosh, there are a few. One real key in terms of just naming the thing is here I was with this course, and I was in one world in the financial services, and then I was starting my coaching business.
Right.
And I held this event, and a good friend of mine, an Italian guy, comes into it, and he says, you know, what I really like, and he leaned in and he's whispering to me, he goes, what I really liked was your grow, get, give philosophy. And I went, that's a philosophy. I never really thought of it. I thought we were having big growth and big impact. And here he goes, no, I like the grow, get, give. I thought that's a thing.
Yeah.
So that's really important. So I need to figure out what that looks like for others.
An aha.
How do I, it was my wow. I call them wows. I'm like, wow, I can do that. Well, wow, I could build a whole training mechanism around grow, get, give.
Yeah.
Like number 1, it's how to build a mountain of credibility.
Right.
Number 2 is freedom rules. I've got very specific freedom rules to block time and have a better life. And then big impact giving is just the process I have to make an impact.
And finally, I'm just curious, because charity is such a big part of your life, Mike. What are some of your favorite charitable causes? Does it change each year, or? Yeah,
so it would be cause. So I walk people through this, and if you identify what it is that matters to you, everybody's got their own personal experience, right? That dictates your philanthropy. You can't dictate it to other people. But for us in our family, we set up pillars. We have our kids participate in it. They're now late teens, so they've been doing this for a lot of years. And that is pillars around children and health. So it's education for children, health and wellness, and fitness for kids and families, and child protection. So those 3 pillars are where our family kind of sits in terms of the charitable giving. Right?
Well, it's great. You're doing a lot of good. There's another G. Maybe grow, get, give, good. Maybe that's the 6th book, the
Got
Encore. Got it. We could keep going. But congratulations. It's unique, and at the heart of it, it's charity, which never gets old.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to just getting the word out there.
Yeah, for sure. If you'd like more information on the book, just check out our website, csuitebookclub.com. That's c-suitebookclub.com. I'm Taryn Winterbrill. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here on Bestseller TV.
Welcome to C-Suite TV Insights. I'm JJ Ramberg. The next evolution of the web is here. Web 3, which utilizes blockchain technologies, NFTs, DAOs, cryptocurrencies. Today, we want to talk about what this new world of experiences and platforms and money-making opportunities means for TV content producers and consumers. My guest today is here to give us a better understanding of what Web 3 means for these TV and video content producers and consumers. Please welcome Joe Ward, CEO of Edge Video. Welcome, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, JJ. It's really good to be here.
All right, I want to really bring this back for people who are just starting to understand what Web3 is. So talk to me about what it means in relation to what you're building.
In relation to what we're building, it's a whole new generational shift in the way that we interact with video financially. It has a lot of other decentralization benefits. But essentially what happens is there's no concept of a login anymore, and there's no concept of a password. And in the video and the media sense, there's no concept of a subscription, and there's no credit card, but you can still watch premium content because you can pay for it with your crypto wallet. So if you think about like what's one of the number one problems that you find, with content and video is the business model. And the business model is going to change, and a lot of companies are going to be born from it, and a lot of companies won't survive it.
Explain to me exactly how it works. So I want to access some premium content right now that I normally have to pay for.
Yep.
Tell me how this shifts.
Okay, so we know the current experience, right? Which is, hey, put your credit card details in, and then 14 days free trial, and then 30 days later you look at your credit card and say they got me, and that's the truth of it, right? No one wants to talk about it in the TV industry because that's how they survive. Well, in the crypto world, what if you could just number one with us is you watch to earn on the advertising side. So when you're watching ad-supported TV, they send you crypto. The more you watch, but in your example, on the premium side, now that you've got a bunch of crypto, the tokens, and our token's called the EAT, the Edge Activity Token. Well, then you pay for it with the tokens that you've got, and if you're short on them, you can buy some more. You'll pay more for the content that you do watch, but you won't pay more overall because you won't be paying for content that you don't watch. And so, you might say, okay, well, I'm paying for 4 or 5 subscription services now, and that's costing you $40 or $60 a month. Or maybe you'll spend $20 or $30 a month, but you're just watching premium content. But at the same time, you didn't even have to stump up for that 20 or 30 fully because you got paid for watching ads before that.
So you're basically getting me to watch more TV so that I can watch TV.
Exactly.
Right?
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, we're doing it anyhow, right? So if I understand, you've created a token, the EAT token, which is a cryptocurrency. Yep. And so when I'm watching my regular ad-supported television, I am earning that currency. And then I can either use that to pay for premium content, or it's just currency that I have that I can trade or give to someone else, etc. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. And here on the screen, very briefly, you can see I'm watching BizTV, which is, my favorite place to watch C-Suite TV. And you can see my balance here is $25, and I've just earned a token right here. And so it's ticking over, and it's paying me the more I watch. So that's a pretty cool evolution, just to sit back and have the crypto stream into my account.
So in essence, right now, advertising dollars are going to the creators, right? Or the providers.
Yeah.
Now that money is getting shared with the consumers. Is that how the money flow goes?
Yeah.
Got it.
So if you jump on and spend 5 minutes watching TV, well, you get paid a little bit. But if you don't channel surf and you say, well, actually, normally I'd jump around a bit, but actually I'm going to stick with this because I'm getting something back. And then there's all these new features that we're adding, which is based on sports and things like that, with certain outcomes. As you know, if your team wins, then you get some more tokens in live, and really turn it into an economic experience that has never happened before. And you do it with the existing equipment.
Where do I find this?
Well, you can try it now at earnify.tv.
Got it. And can I find any content there? What content are you streaming right now?
Well, right now, because we're a platform, so we have 10 channels on there, which includes like the 24-hour free movies and Euro News and Bloomberg TV and BizTV, of course. And so we're doing this as a token holder site, but our platform is available to any of the 860,000 video sites and apps are in the world, of which C-Suite TV is one of them. To add the code, to add the ticker, to be able to instantly enable the viewers to participate by earning crypto just by watching. And it's like it turns on. If you turn the sound on, it pays more, and if you're watching the foreground, it pays more. And you know, sometimes we do live wallet drops where we say, hey, $5,000, just hit the movie channel, go watch it, and over the next 60 days, $5,000 in tokens is going to be split between all the viewers. And refer your friends.
Joe, it's fascinating. I know you're at the very, very beginning stages of this, so I'm really excited to follow what happens with this company. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you everyone for watching C-Suite TV Insights, and we will see you next time right here on C-Suite TV.